Hello, my name is Josh Obrecht, and I'm a GIS analyst with the ACPF National Hub. In this video, we're going to discuss the Contour Buffer Strips tool. This is the sixth tool in the Precision Conservation Siting Practices section of the ACPF Toolbox. Contour buffer strips are strips of prairie grass or other perennial vegetation placed along topographic contours, and they are used to intercept overland flow and sediment from running off into natural waterways. They can be placed a certain spacing along the slope or at the foot slope. The concept is similar to terracing, though slopes are usually the reason for distinguishing between contour buffer strips or terraces, with terraces more commonly used in steeper sloped areas. The NRCS has suggested certain spacing for terraces within a field. We have used these recommendations and slightly altered them for siting contour buffer strips and the appropriate spacing for them within the ACPF. By finding the third quartile slope within each field, we determine which possible contour intervals will be applied to that field. There are three options. The contour interval selected will result in a spacing approximately equal to the NRCS recommendations shown before. This slide shows the math that is done to calculate the appropriate spacing for each contour buffer strip. The ACPF tool begins to place contour buffer strips by first masking out 4 to 15% slopes by fields within agricultural land. This does not include pasture. The mask is smoothed by majority filter so that holes within the mask are filled. Contours are then generated within each field using the defined contour interval that was based on the slope of that field. Concentrated flow paths greater than 2 acres in the drainage area are buffered by 10 meters and removed from the contour buffer strip output. That way, the contour buffer strips do not intercept flow paths that would hold too much flow for the strip to intercept. Only contours greater than 100 meters in length are maintained and then added to the output. This output is then buffered to a user-specified width, which as a default, we provide 15 feet. In ArcGIS Pro, we will open the catalog window in the right side of the screen, if it isn't already open, by clicking the catalog tab. Expand our ACPF toolbox and expand the Precision Conservation Practice Siting section. Double-click the Contour Buffer Strips tool to open. This tool has 7 inputs that it's asking for. The first is our field boundary feature class, and we can add that in the first drop-down as it is already in our map. When choosing the field boundary feature class, 3 of our other inputs auto-populate. These are our slope raster, our slope table, and our flow accumulation raster. The next required input is our unfilled DEM. That's our new DEM, which is also in our map, so we can choose that from the 4th dropdown. The tool also asks for a z-factor. Once again, 0.01. We will keep the 15-foot buffer strip with default, but feel free to edit this if you see fit. The output we're going to get is our contour buffer strip feature class. So click run when you're ready to run the tool. The contour buffer strips tool has just finished running, and we can see that the result, a contour buffer strips feature class, has been added to our map. We can notice that in the flatter areas of the watershed, we don't have as many contour buffer strips. But along the slopes that we can see in our hillshade, we do have more contour buffer strips sited, which makes sense. If we open the attribute table for contour buffer strips by right-clicking on it in the table of contents and clicking attribute table, we have the field boundary ID that's associated with the practice. Then we also have the mean slope that the contour buffer strip intersects. Each buffer strip also has a contour associated with it, and this is in centimeters. In certain areas within this watershed, contour buffer strips have been sited where there are currently terraces that we can see in the hillshade. We can see them here as these groups. There's a chance that some of these buffer strips may actually be better implemented as terraces. Select our contour buffer strips in the table of contents on the left and click the Symbology tab in the right panel to open the Symbology window. From the drop-down under Primary Symbology, choose Graduated Colors. We will be visualizing on the mean slope field, so we will select that field from the field drop-down. We will leave the method and change the number of classes to 2. For color scheme, we will select Set to 3 classes. We can create a breakpoint where we know the slopes of 10% or higher are usually more suitable for terraces. So we'll change the upper value of the first entry to 10 by double-clicking on it and entering 10. Within our map, the green practices will correspond to contour buffer strip opportunities, and the orange practices may be better suited as terraces, as they are over 10% slope. To recap, we ran the Contour Buffer Strips tool and discussed how we can use the results to determine potential siting of not only contour buffer strips, but also terraces. In the next video, we will run the last precision conservation practice siting tool, Edge of Field Bioreactors.